Hello and welcome. My name is Marta and today I am making a haunted terrarium. Now I picked this beauty up in Facebook Marketplace and I just couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it. It's huge, it's beautiful, it's gothic, Victorian looking, and it's very dirty, so I am cleaning it up right now. The second I saw this, I knew what I was going to make with it, and here are the things I'm going to be using. A wire hanger, because I couldn't find my floral wire, which I do not recommend, but anyway. Some Reynolds wrap or tin foil, some air dry clay, little fairy lights. What else do I have there? I have like some wire cutters, some dried florals, the various reindeer mosses and Spanish mosses that I have. And then of course sheet moss for it. I got these cute little moss-like covered rock-like things from Temu. They're really light. They're really cool. I didn't pay much for them. They're very cheap. So here I go. I am undoing the hook, well, the hanger, and I'm going to kind of make the body for a little tree. And I'm using that heavy-duty bolt cutter and pliers, and I am bending it. So the reason I don't recommend using a coat hanger is that it's very hard to manipulate. It's very hard wire compared to the floral wire that you can use, and it much more easily bends to your will. So when I finish wrestling with this godforsaken wire, I will be using the foil to wrap around the wire to thicken up the tree to make a more tree-like base. And after that, I will be wrapping it around with the masking tape that I had earlier so that I can get it ready to be papier-mâchéed. When adding this tin foil, I make sure to squeeze it and press down on it to make the tin foil hard. That way it's a more solid base. Now if you hear panting behind me, that's a Malinois that I'm taking care of, and she is one nervous little girl. But she's very, very sweet, but very loud. I apologize for that. Here I'm just wrapping it around, making the trunk, and I decided that 2 little branches was just not enough, didn't look right as a Y, so I will be taking another piece of that horrible coat hanger, another one, and I'm going to cut a piece off here and twist it around to make another, at least 2 more branches for the base of the tree. And I'll also tinfoil them, or wrap them in tinfoil. So the next step is taking this masking tape and just twisting it all the way around every little branch and little root and all the trunk. So here's my little guy. I am just making sure now that it can fit through that very narrow door of the lantern. And it does, so I'm happy with it. And I am moving on to papier-mâchéing this. Now I'm just using some recycled packaging paper. And I just used a basic papier-mâché recipe. It was 1 cup of flour, 1 tablespoon of salt, and about 1.5 cups of water. They say to make it like a pancake consistency, like pancake batter. I found it to be best for me like pancake batter, but a little bit more watery. And here I am. I'm just dipping them in and wrapping each little branch around and around the trunk and everything. I give it about 2 layers of this. So I do 1 layer, let it dry, and then do a second layer, and then I figured that was probably more than enough. So now I'm moving on to painting. I am going to be using Waverly chalk paint in ink and in truffle, and some DIY clear wax for the little tree. So it was a little bit gritty, so I'm going to just sand it down a bit. And then after that, I'm ready for painting. Once I have it all nice and smooth, I am just playing around with this little pick that I got at Michael's. It was a little expensive because it's big, but it was worth it. So I'm just going to cut little pieces off and I will be hot gluing those branches. But I decided to paint everything beforehand and then add the little branches to make it look more realistic. What I'm going for is just a dead tree, or a winter tree. So I don't have to be bothered by adding leaves or anything like that. That would just be too much work. Maybe someday in the future I'll do one like that, but not right now. I'm going for creepy haunted looks. So I did the black base, and now I'm just getting a small little paintbrush and painting the bark grooves with the Waverly truffle paint. Once everything's dry, I am adding the clear wax to seal up this chalk paint. And after wiping it back, I decided I wanted the tree to look a little darker. So I added black wax to it to darken it up and then wipe that back. And in retrospect, I wish I would have left it with just the clear wax, just so that it would contrast out a little bit more. It kind of blends in a little too much in the lantern, but whatever, you live and learn. I couldn't go back. So now I am cutting a little bit of these little branches off and just adding them here and there with a hot glue to the top of the tree here. And after that, I will take a small little paintbrush and some of that ink chalk paint and paint over the little globs of hot glue. Now you can avoid this whole step and just use black hot glue sticks, but I didn't have any at the time. I did buy some, but I didn't have it at the time. So you do what you gotta do. Now moving on to making the base of this little terrarium. I will be using floral foam. I got this nifty little serrated knife thingy from Amazon. I like it a lot. It's really cool. So here I'm just shaping it, rounding it off. I kind of basically want the tree to be on a small hill. So I'm rounding off all the little corners and getting it to size. And then we'll be using some masking tape to tape this together. I was looking everywhere for my masking tape. I ended up having to get my blue tape out. And when I did find my masking tape, I found out that my puppy took it and decided to play with it. Once I do this step, I take my sheet moss and cut a circle around it. I basically eyeball everything like I always do. I want to make sure that the circle fits inside the lantern, but also has enough of a skirt to cover the whole underhill there, the whole floral foam, and you can't see it. Here I snip it and then glue it to kind of round it off a little bit. It worked a little better that way. And once I have it to size, I just put tons of hot glue on top and glue it to the base, and then glue the base to the base. Here I'm just making sure that it all fits in there with a little hill and it's okay. And since it has that domed ceiling, it fits nicely. So I take some reindeer moss and I'm kind of placing it in the little gaps of the terrarium. I got these from Amazon. They're cute little rubber gravestones that I'm going to use. And this pick, I'm just going to use the tips of the ferns. They're plastic, but they look great. Here I'm using DIY paint in black velvet, apothecary, and vintage linen. I will be mixing them up to be making a gray. I end up doing two types of gray. One's lighter, one's darker. I think here you're just going to see the darker gray, but it's the same steps. So unfortunately, I added water and watered it down and didn't realize that it's not the most ideal for painting on rubber. So I had to thicken it up again. It would have been fine, I think, just straight up chalk paint, just right out of the bottle. But since I had added water to it, I decided to use the salt wash that I have. You can use the baking soda or baking powder. I still haven't figured out which one is used, but it's a thickening agent, and it also gives it texture, like a sandy grit texture to it. I do 2 coats for each gravestone. Now I'm sealing up that chalk paint with some clear wax and a very soft brush. You have to be very gentle with this because the rubber doesn't stick well to the paint and it flicks off if you do it too harshly. As I let it dry, I'm just snipping off, getting the fern ready, snipping off the tips that I'm going to use. And after everything's dry, I take my black wax and I go over the little gravestones with the black wax to darken them up a little bit. After that, I don't believe I show it, but I wanted the details to pop out more. So I got some of the gray paint again, that's lighter, and I just go over it with a dry brush and the paint over the little details. So it's time for the fairy lights. I decided to get these fairy lights from Amazon because they had a smaller battery pack and they'll fit better in the terrarium. And they're small, they're about 20 lights per string here. There's a trend going on and I saw it, and I will credit the artist that I saw it from, but I've seen other artists do it since on Pinterest and in YouTube. You twist them up and you use hot glue to make the base of the mushroom, and then also hot glue to make the mushroom top. So I'm basically making little lighted mushrooms out of this wire. What I'm doing is getting 2 lights together, 2 little light bulbs together, and making kind of a T out of them and twisting the wire under them down, and then having that back up. So they're about no more than 1 inch tall, the mushrooms. And I just do that to every 2 lights. So in the end, I end up with 10 mushrooms. It's kind of hard to see it. I will link the tutorial that I found. She doesn't do 2 lights. I wanted 2 lights per thing. She just does 1 light per mushroom, but I feel like her camera work is much better and you can really see how to make them more detailed. So I will be crediting that and adding the link down below if you guys are interested. Next, I take my hot glue and I am basically going all the way around the stem, up and down the stem a couple times to thicken it up. Let that dry. Here you can see a better close-up of it. It's about 1 or 2 go-overs that I do on each stem for each mushroom. So the glue dots that you see in the background there, I lost the footage while making those, but it's very simple. You take some wax paper. Unfortunately, I had parchment paper only, so it didn't work as well, but wax paper would be best. And you make glue dots with it, basically a little under an inch, like a large thumbnail size, I guess, would be the best way to describe it. However wide you want them. I made them wide enough for the T part of the light to fit. So here I glued one on. You can see a close-up of it. And I'm just going to show you how I proceed to glue them on each stem. After initially gluing them, I do go ahead and fill in the bottom of the mushroom there. You'll see I just fill it in a little bit, make it round. And here is how they look. And now they're ready to get the little tops painted. I'm using these Primrosia acrylic pens. They are really cool. I end up only using a couple colors, the orange and a light green. And in the end, even the light green was just too light and I didn't want too dark of a green. So I just went ahead and just did orange all the way around every cap. I did go over a couple times with the marker to darken up the orange. So now I'm going to paint the little stems and under the caps with Waverly chalk paint and plaster. And here you can see that I had some of the green ones, but honestly they were just too light, and in the end I think it was a good choice keeping them all the same color. So when I'm done with the stems, I'm going over each cap with a small little paintbrush in the same color plaster, and I'm just doing those little flecks, those little dots that you see on the top of the mushrooms, like the classic fairy tale mushrooms, the Amanita muscaria mushrooms. Once I have everything painted, I use Waverly chalk paint and fern, and I paint between each mushroom the little wire in that color so it could blend better with the moss in the terrarium. Then I also paint the battery pack in the same color so it blends in when I hide it in the moss there in front of the door. And once I'm done, I arrange them in the terrarium. I decided to make them into a little fairy circle. If you're familiar with the lore, it's like a portal for fairyland or spirits. So I thought it very appropriate. Now for the most magical element of this terrarium, I am using DOS air dry clay, and I am making these adorable little forest spirits called kadamas or kadama. They are from a movie made by Studio Ghibli called Princess Mononoke, and it's one of my favorite movies. I love that movie, and I couldn't recommend more any movie from Studio Ghibli. They are amazing. They ignite your imagination. The stories are beautiful. The artwork, I mean, I just can go on, and I've rewatched all of their movies over and over again. I can't get enough of them. They are so magical. And shout out to my nieces, Natasha and Neela, who I introduced that movie to them this summer, and they adored it. They loved these little forest spirits. So I dedicate this terrarium to my nieces, Natasha and Neela. I love you guys, and I hope you're enjoying this tutorial. For those of you not familiar with Studio Ghibli, they are a Japanese animation company and they make beautiful movies like Totoro, Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away, Ponyo, it goes on and on. I make 9 of these guys. I wanted to originally make 13, but I didn't have enough room in the terrarium for 13. So I stuck with the number 9, and I made some standing up and some sitting down. I have a great little clay toolkit that I believe I got on Amazon. I'm going to research that and I will link it below, but it has a lot of tools that came with it, and especially these little silicone tools that look like paintbrushes. Those were awesome. I used those and this little flat edge tool to blend in the neck to the head, and then these rounded ended tools to make the eyes. They were perfect. So now I am adding some Spanish moss and reindeer moss to the tree. In this shot, I add a lot to it, and it looks really just maybe too much. I went back later and I took a lot out and just left a few bits so it wasn't too overwhelming with the drippy moss. Next, my Kadamas are ready for some glow-in-the-dark paint I got at the Dollar Tree, and I give it a lot of coats. It says 2, 3, maybe 4 coats to get it to glow properly because it looks blotchy otherwise. What I didn't do, and I should have done, is seal the air dry clay first, and then maybe I wouldn't have had to put like 100 coats on them. I ended up putting like, I think at least 5, maybe 8, who knows. I wanted to give the gravestones a mossy look, so I took some Waverly chalk paint in Scallion, and I took a kind of a chippy paintbrush and dried it. It wasn't like too overloaded, and I dabbed on in some of the areas of each little gravestone the green to make it look mossy. Now I am painting the little Kodama eyes. I'm using the chalk paint and ink and taking a really teeny little paintbrush and tediously painting in all the eyes and the teeny weeny mouth, and it was tedious but totally worth it. This is my favorite little guy right here. He's so adorable. So finishing those up, I finally had gotten my black light fairy lights in with a small battery pack. They were great. And I am painting the battery pack and a little bit of the wire, but I don't end up painting the whole thing. I maybe should have, but I got really lazy and I didn't do it. They're kind of, I put them on towards the top of the terrarium and the inside, so unless you're really looking, you can't really see them. And I'm hiding the battery packs under those fluffy reindeer moss. So now it's time to put everything together. I am adding my tree. I don't glue my tree down because I'm not sure if in the future I want to change this terrarium up. Who knows? So I didn't end up doing that. I added my little mushrooms. They look great lit up. I didn't glue them down. And now I'm just dispersing everything. The gravestones I did glue down, and most of the little kodomas I do glue down, and the ferns and all that. I kind of just stagger everything and make it look just right. And I'm so sorry about this camera angle. It was really hard to show you how I was doing everything because the doorway of this terrarium is very narrow. It's about 5 inches, and I really just couldn't get the right angle so you could see it better, but you get the gist of what I'm doing here. Also, to glue everything down, I did finally get my black hot glue sticks in, so that's what I ended up using. And I want to take some time to thank everyone that's been giving me likes and subscribing. You guys are awesome. I love it. I love reading your wonderful comments, your suggestions. I'm so grateful for your support and love. And I hope you guys enjoyed this haunted terrarium. Now it's time for the reveal.